Hi, it's Paul here from selfoutforlife.com, and today I'm going to cover the best daily morning routine for an outstanding life. Now, what is a morning routine? Well, a morning routine is basically something that you do early in the day, ideally before you do anything else, that programs your day for success. Okay, so there's a number of different things it can contain, and I'll cover that shortly in this video. But a morning routine will help you develop new habits. It will help you achieve your goals by getting yourself in the right mindset early in the day. It gives you the time to do things consistently that you learn in personal development books. So you're reading a book and they say you should visualize or recite affirmations or do meditation. So what a morning ritual or morning routine does is gives you that time to do those things early in the day. Okay, it's also a great way to feel better over time, but also immediately when you're doing the ritual, and it allows you to start your day in a proactive way, because many of us start our days very reactive. Maybe we get out of bed quite late and then we're rushing to get to work or whatever, or there's other things, and you end up living a very reactive life. So getting up that little bit earlier and doing a morning routine gives you the ability to start the day proactive. Okay, and it's also a great way to allow you to do all those things that you should be doing early in the day. So maybe you should be exercising, maybe you should be meditating, maybe you should be repeating affirmations or doing a bit of personal development reading to improve your life. So if you can do those things early in the day, then you can in a way live a guilt-free day, okay, because you've already done those things that you should do. So what are the best things to do as part of a daily morning routine? What are the things that the most successful people do in the morning to achieve their goals and live an outstanding life? Well, this was a question that Hal Elrod was very interested in answering. So he went on to research many of the most successful people in the world to find out what they do in the mornings. Okay, and he found out that they do a lot of different things. He couldn't find any key set of things that all these successful people do. They varied quite a bit, but after researching quite a lot of different successful people, he found that there were 6 main things that were quite common that most people did. So he worked out that if he started doing these 6 things, he could have an outstanding life as well. And he's written all about these in his book called The Miracle Morning, and I'll put a link to that book in the description below. But basically he came up with the acronym of SAVERS. So SAVERS stands for, the S stands for silence. So silence is basically meditation. Okay, so many of the most successful people in the world meditated daily. The next one is A, which is affirmations or mantras. So again, not everyone, but many successful people repeated positive mantras every day. The V stands for visualization, so doing some kind of goal-directed visualization, whether they do it consciously or even unconsciously. Then E stands for exercise. Again, most but not all successful people have some kind of exercise ritual built into their morning routine. R stands for reading, okay, so reading and learning. And then finally, S stands for scribing, which is basically journaling or writing. So how long should a daily morning routine be? Well, it's entirely up to you. Obviously, the longer you do it, the more benefit you'll get from it, but it could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, could be half an hour, or even an hour if you can spend that amount of time. But whatever it is, you want to try and focus on these 6 areas that I'm going to cover now in more detail, and ideally put an equal amount of time into each of them, but you might sometimes prefer to spend a bit more time on one area rather than another. So the first of the 6 areas is silence or meditation. So the goal of meditation is to still your mind, be mindful, and be able to focus completely on the present. So the simplest way of doing this is just to focus on your breathing. So just sitting there comfortably and just focusing on breathing in and then breathing out, and just focusing on that completely. And whenever you notice your mind wandering, just bringing your mind back to your breath. The second thing you could do is some kind of chanting. Okay, so this could be saying something like Om, so it could be Om, and then you focus on that sound that you're making, so that can be a really good way. Or it could be repeating a certain word, and my favorite word is release. So you just, every say 2 or 3 seconds, you say release, 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 release. and then you'll focus your mind entirely on that word. And because you're repeating it every 2 or 3 seconds, that keeps your mind focused on that word as well. Other things you could do some kind of counting. So you could be counting from 1 to 100 and focusing completely on that. You could listen to some kind of guided meditation recording. So it could either be one that you've done yourself, or you could listen to one of the many guided meditation recordings that are out there. There's lots of different apps now you can get for your phone that have these guided meditations. So that can be a really good way of meditating as well. But as long as you're doing something that's allowing your mind to focus on something, okay, what you don't want to do is just sit there and start daydreaming for 5 minutes, because that's the same as being in bed, just thinking about what you're going to do during the day. It's got to be something that's something different to focus your mind on, to stop your mind doing its normal everyday kind of thinking and allow you to be completely in the present. So the next part, and the A in Savers, stands for affirmations. So this is repeating affirmations or mantras, suggestions or incantations, basically positive phrases. And these positive phrases are about you. So they're much more about you as a person than about any specific goals. The goals is the next step, visualization, which I'll cover in a moment. Now, a really good tip is to base your affirmations on the idea of being happy, healthy, wealthy and wise, in that order. Because if you think about it, nearly everything we want to achieve in life is actually designed to allow us to be happy. So actually focusing on being happy first is often a great shortcut to just feeling happy. So affirmations that help you feel happy, then affirmations that help you feel healthy, because it's very hard to do anything else if your physical body is in pain or discomfort. So focusing on health affirmations. Then ones around being wealthy, so you have the money to do the things you want to do in life and have a great life. And then affirmations around being wise and intelligent. Okay, so that's what I recommend, up to you, but I'm generally working with happy, healthy, wealthy and wise. Now with affirmations, it's better if you can speak them or read them out loud. Another great option can be to record your affirmations. So you can record them and then you can play them back to yourself. There's a great app to do that called Think Up, and I'll put a link to that app in the description below. But this app basically allows you to record your affirmations in your own voice, and then you can put your own choice of background music on them as well. So that's really, really powerful. Now what can sometimes happen when you're repeating affirmations is that a really good idea comes into your mind in the middle of it. So if that happens, then start repeating that new idea as well and incorporate that into your affirmations. And what's great about affirmations is they help you believe and feel that you're okay about yourself, that you're a good person, that life is going well, and that over time you're going to become a better person and you're going to have a better life. So the next area, and this is the V of Savers, is visualization. So this is a positive visualization of something you want to achieve in life, a visualization about something you want. So it's different from affirmations, which are more about you as a person. This is more about the external things you want to achieve in your life. Okay, so this works best when you focus on one key goal. Now, if you have a number of different goals in life, you can always focus on a different goal in different mornings. But for one particular morning, focus on one goal. And for that goal, you want to make sure that you have a clear and measurable outcome. So how will you know when you've achieved it? And also include why you want to achieve that goal, and also how you're going to achieve it. So the kind of things you're going to do to make that happen. Now, if you want more help with setting goals, then go and check out my goal setting video, which will appear up here right now. Now, occasionally visualizing your goals can be enough to kick the law of attraction into action, and something happens and you manifest that really quickly. But that's fairly unusual. Usually you need to become the kind of person that can have that goal before it will come into your life. So the visualization, particularly when you focus on the why, the how, as well as the what, then that allows you to develop that kind of energy, to increase your vibration level, so that you're more likely to attract that into your life. Okay? Now also, as part of your visualization, focus on when it will be achieved. Now, when you're doing this visualization, the best thing to do is to speak it out aloud as you're doing it. I've tried in the past to just close my eyes and visualize a goal for 5 to 10 minutes, and I find it really easy for my mind to wander onto other things. So if you're actually speaking out what you're visualizing, that will allow your mind to really focus on that. Another great way to do that is to record yourself. So record the visualization and then you can play that back. So it almost then acts as a meditation as well as a visualization. Okay. Another thing that some people do is use vision boards. That can be very effective as well. So whatever type of visualization process you decide to do, make sure you include a specific action that you're going to do today that's going to help you get one step closer to achieving that goal. Okay, the next area is exercise. This is the E of savers. So exercise or doing some kind of movement every day. Now, what you decide to do could vary from day to day. So here are some examples of some things you could do. You could do 5 1-minute workouts. So this could be a minute of doing the plank, followed by a minute of press-ups, followed by a minute of crunches, maybe a minute of jumping jacks, and maybe a minute of squats. Okay, so that's just an example. There's lots of other ones you could do, but something along the lines of that. Or you could go outside for a walk or a run for 5 to 10 minutes. It's something as simple as that. Or it could be doing some yoga or stretching. So it doesn't have to be something that's very energetic. Sometimes just a little bit of stretching can be really nice. And so it can be something very gentle, just something to help get your body moving. So you know your body your best, so just do whatever you think is best for you at the time. It could be something very gentle, it could be something that really gets your heart rate going. Now, potentially, you could be repeating affirmations while you're doing the exercise. So if you push for time, you could combine the affirmations and the exercising together. And what's great about this is you can then say that my exercise is done. Even if you've just done 5 minutes, you've done something. And although you might plan to do a longer exercise routine later in the day, if for any reason that doesn't happen, at least you can say, I've done 5 minutes, I've done 10 minutes of exercise. And that's a great way to start. And again, it just helps you not feel guilty later in the day for the things that you should have done. So the fifth area, and this is the R of savers, is reading. Now I've expanded this to include reading, listening or watching. But basically it's consuming some kind of content that's going to be either inspiring, motivating, uplifting, or is going to help you learn something new. So if it's reading, this is not reading your romantic or thriller novel. Save that for later in the day or for reading as you're going to bed. This is some kind of reading that is educational. It's going to help you learn something new. It's some kind of reading, watching or listening that's going to help you move forward in your life and help you achieve your goals. So it could be learning about a new marketing tool. It could be learning about a new therapeutic technique that you could use on yourself or even with other people. It could be learning about a new sales technique. It could be learning about new computer software to achieve something that you want to achieve. It could be some kind of personal development technique that you want to use on yourself, like an NLP or a hypnosis technique, something like that. It could even be religious or spiritual. Okay, so there's lots of different things, but it's really all about either improving yourself as a person or helping you achieve some kind of external goal that you've set for yourself. And as I mentioned, it doesn't have to necessarily be reading, it could be listening. So listening to podcasts could be a great idea, or audio books. You know, audible.com is a great source of audiobooks nowadays. One thing I would say though, if you're listening, is to focus completely on what you're listening to. I listen to a lot of things on the go, and I find that I don't retain the information as deeply as when I actually set aside a few minutes to listen to something, and I listen to that and do nothing else. So some great ideas there for listening. And also watching. So it could be watching YouTube videos like this one, or it could be some kind of online course that you've invested in. So watching 10 minutes of the video content of that. Again, always works much better if you can focus completely on that content rather than watching that while you're doing other things. So whatever it is you do, whether it's reading, listening or watching, make sure it's aligned with your goals. And ideally, you want it to be something that's either going to add to your productivity, so it's going to make you more productive, or it's going to make you more positive. So you're looking for content that's going to make you feel more productive or give you greater positivity during the day. So the last area is scribing, and this is the second S in savers. So scribing is basically writing or journaling. So this could include a whole host of different things you could do. Probably the easiest way to start is doing a gratitude journal. So taking, say, 5 minutes and writing down all the things you're grateful for about your life right now. So you could be grateful for the fact that you woke up and you're here for another day. You made it to another day. You could then maybe focus on your health, what's good about your health. You could then start to focus on maybe the people around you in your life, your partner, your family, those kind of things. Maybe focus on the job or the career you have, what you really like about that. You could start focusing on some of the achievements you've achieved in the past that make you feel good, listing all those down. There's lots of different things, you can focus on gratitude wise, and just be as creative as you can. So writing down all the things you're grateful for is a great way to start journaling. Other things you could do is expressing your thoughts, feelings and ideas on paper. There's something about getting something out of your head and onto paper that just makes it seem more real in a way. Just more real, more concrete. And once you get particularly like limiting or negative thoughts and feelings out of your head, it's a lot easier on paper to challenge them, to question them and to come up with new ideas. And it's a very good way of just releasing emotions as well, just getting it out on paper, just getting it out of your system. And I think also when it's on paper, it seems less overwhelming as well. Another thing you could do for journaling is you could write out your goals. Okay, so that could be another great thing to do, is keeping them really clear in your mind then. You could write out statements of intent. So how you want today to be, what are your intentions for today? What are the positive things you want to happen today? So rather than focusing, as we often do, on what we think is actually going to happen today, focus on what we ideally want to happen. So maybe we have a difficult conversation with a colleague at work, focusing on the positive way, the best way that could go for me, how I'm going to act in that situation. You could write down inspirational quotes. So you could find your favorite inspirational quotes and start writing those down. You could even write down particular passages in a book. So if there's a particular part of a book that you've really enjoyed or found really inspirational when you've been reading, you could write that out several times, and that could help that really get that into your unconscious mind more deeply. And look, there's lots of different things you could do, and the key is to vary it. So maybe one day you'll do a gratitude journal, another day you'll write down your goals, another day you'll express your thoughts and feelings. It could depend a lot on just how you feel that day. I suppose the final question with this is, do you write it or do you type it? There's lots and lots of different opinions on this. The general idea is that if you write something by hand, it goes in more deeply into your unconscious mind. But if you have terrible handwriting like I do, then you might find you can't actually understand it anyway. So typing might be better. Some other advantages of that is if you're typing it into something like Evernote, you can then refer to it easily on multiple devices throughout the day. So that could increase that benefit of being able to review it later in the day and be able to add to your journal at any point during the day as well. So there's quite a lot of benefits to typing as well. So decide what's best for you. I'm probably more of a typing person these days, but whatever works best for you. The key thing is that you're actually doing it. So there are 6 areas. So just to quickly recap then, we have silence, which is meditation. We have affirmations, visualization, some kind of exercise, some kind of reading, listening or watching, and then finally scribing, which is journaling or writing. So finally, here are some practical tips to help you develop a great daily morning routine. So firstly, think about how much time you're able to put into this, at least to start with. So potentially this could be a 6-minute morning routine, 1 minute on each of the 6 areas. Or it could be a 12-minute routine, so 2 minutes on each of the areas. Or you could make it a 30-minute routine and spend 5 minutes on each of the 6 areas. Or spend 10 minutes on each area and make it 1 hour. And this could vary from day to day as well. Maybe you could do a longer routine at the weekends. So the next thing is you've got to be able to get yourself out of bed. So the best way to do that is to put your alarm clock away from your bed, so that when your alarm clock goes off, you have to get out of bed to turn it off. Okay, that's a really great tip. When I started doing morning routines, that was the one thing that made a huge difference for me. The next thing is brush your teeth as soon as you've got out of bed and turned off that alarm clock. Something about brushing your teeth just helps you wake up a bit, makes you feel fresh. So that's a really good tip. The next thing is to get into some kind of exercise clothing. Now you might want to have this ready the night before to make it easier, but just something that's comfortable, some sort of exercise clothing that feels comfortable. And what you could do is have special clothing that you only use for your morning ritual or your morning routine. So that way you become associated that when you're wearing those clothes, your body knows that you're doing the morning ritual. Another thing you could do, if you're not that comfortable repeating affirmations out loud or parts of your visualizations out loud or chanting when you're meditating, because there's other people in the house that might think you're doing something that's a bit strange, then consider doing it outside. Okay, so you could go for a half-hour walk in the morning and incorporate these things in the local park, something like that. So my final tip is to give it a go for 30 days. So do a daily morning routine for 30 consecutive days. That's long enough for you to really see the benefits of doing it. It's also long enough that there'll be those occasional days where you feel resistant, you feel like you don't want to do it, and you'll pull through those because you want to be consistent with that 30-day daily morning routine challenge. And then you can decide after that whether this is something you want to keep doing after that. Now, if you want to get much deeper into morning routines and morning rituals, then there's a couple of resources that I recommend you check out. The first one is The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. That was the book I mentioned at the start of this video. This is the book that goes through the savers process that I've been talking about in this video. So I've got a link to that book on Amazon in the description below. Another program which I highly recommend is Morning Ritual Mastery by Stephen James at Project Life Mastery. This was the first course that I did, and this was how I initially developed my morning routines. His approach is a little bit different. He focuses on having something that you do for your body, something that you do for your mind, and something that you do for your spirit. So I highly recommend that program. That's a video course and it's called Morning Ritual Mastery, and there's a link in the description to that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, please give it a thumbs up, and do leave a comment below. I'd love to hear the kind of things that you do as part of your daily morning routine. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell notification. That way you will always be notified whenever I release future videos just like this one. And then also go and check out my website, that's selfhelpforlife.com. On my website you will find the written versions to many of these videos, also with a link to my podcast and social media channels as well. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I look forward to sharing more great content with you very soon. Bye for now.